Let's look specifically at the matchup, and we've talked about this. Packers defense, Gary and Parsons. When you look at that, what do you do if you're Kevin Stefanski? What are some things that are keys if the Browns are going to pull an upset?
Well, first of all, the Packers have 52 pressures in 2 weeks, and that's an insane amount of pressures. And for me, a pressure is when they get the quarterback off his spot, and that's one thing that Flacco is really struggling with when he has to reset his feet. So they're going to have to really shore up protection. They're going to have to run the ball to keep these guys honest, so they're not pinning their ears back. Now, the issue I have, or the scary thing that for me, is that they are a one gap penetrating team, kind of like the Browns are. But the reason that could play into the Browns' favor is that I think the Browns' best runs, especially with these linemen right now, are gap schemes. And they're just a little bit easier to run. It especially works against teams who get upfield because you can kick them out and trap them and counter them. So I think what they got to do is they got to get their gap schemes going, block them down, kick them out, allow these guys to get upfield and make sure they stay out of true passing situations. And if they are stuck in true passing situations, it's okay to run the ball and punt it. And I've had people argue with me that all week for a couple weeks now, and I understand they want to score points and everything like that. But if the goal is to win, then you got to protect the football, because if you're Borges is going to flip the field regardless of where he's at, and that's important. Teams can't go 80 yards against this defense. So that would be that defense. Really, you just have to understand they're going to get pressure, but you got to keep them off balance. You got to run gap schemes, and you got to make sure that on passing downs you're safe with the football.
The other thing that comes to mind, especially with Fannin and Sampson, screen them to death. Let them run out of the play.
And Browns have, if you look at the Browns, you can't stop everything. And Schwartz is going back to when he was, not with the Browns, the Eagles, etc. So, when you have pressure teams, you're going to give up some big plays in the pass game because you're in man coverage, and screens are a great idea because obviously they're getting upfield and they're trying to cause havoc in the backfield. So screens are great, and bringing up those tight ends, that might be your best matchup. These corners are pretty good, and the Browns receivers aren't very good right now, but the Browns tight ends are very good. And the Browns tight end versus any safety or any linebacker is a winning matchup. So I would say, get run game going, and then work those tight ends against the linebackers and safeties.
So the other thing, you've had Burrow, you've had Lamar Jackson, you've had Higgins and Chase, you've had Derrick Henry. Now Josh Jacobs is pretty good. Tucker Kraft, tight end, is pretty good. Jordan Love's not quite in that category yet. So this is a chance for the Browns defensive line to really kind of impose their will on a younger quarterback.
Well, and you're absolutely right. So Jacobs has 42 carries in the first two games. He's their workhorse, and he's a Shanahan guy. LaFleur is a Shanahan guy, so they're going to run very similar to what Kevin runs, and gap schemes and the zone and wide zone and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to see a very similar run game. But this is not as good as an offense as they faced in the first 2 weeks. And they've shut down these two offenses. And not just shut down these two offenses, but dominated two really high-level quarterbacks. And they've dominated two high-level receivers and dominated arguably the best running back in the league. So this is a game that, in theory, they should absolutely dominate on the defensive side of the ball. The Packers will get their plays. But this is a game they got to think about. Not only are we going to stop these guys, but we're going to create some turnovers. We're going to create some short fields. And, if I'm on offense and the ball's on the 50-yard line, it's 3rd and 8, run the ball, punt it down to the 3-yard line, play defense, look for a safety, play defense, look for a turnover. Those are real things that the Browns have to do this year with the struggling offense and the struggling special teams. It is a complementary football game, but the defense is the key. And I think that's how they do it.